Ever wondered how safe your shopping cart really is? Think about it for a moment. In a world where consumerism is at an all-time high, how secure are you from the unfair practices that lurk behind the shiny labels and polished counters? This is a journey into the realm of consumer protection, a vital shield against the potential pitfalls of the market. It's not just about educating consumers on their rights and responsibilities, but also about ensuring their grievances don't fall on deaf ears. Let's delve into an infamous case, the Volkswagen emissions scandal. In 2015, the automobile giant was caught in a web of deceit, having installed software in their diesel cars to manipulate emissions tests. Consumers thought they were buying eco-friendly vehicles but were unknowingly contributing to environmental pollution. This was a stark example of an unfair trade practice where consumers were exploited through false information. Or consider the case of Johnson & Johnson, a household name in healthcare products. In 2018, allegations surfaced that their talcum powder contained asbestos, a substance linked to cancer. Millions of consumers who had trusted the brand for years were unknowingly exposed to potential health risks. These cases highlight the necessity of consumer protection. It's not just about preventing adulteration or poor quality, but also about shielding consumers from deception and misinformation. So what's the common thread in these instances? It's the lack of transparency and the manipulation of trust. Consumers, believing in the integrity of the brands, were left in the dark about the potential risks and hazards of the products they purchased. Consumer protection is not just a legal requirement, but a moral obligation. It's about creating a fair and transparent market where consumers can make informed choices, free from deception and unfair practices. But it's not all doom and gloom. The Volkswagen scandal led to stricter emissions testing and greater transparency in the automobile industry. The Johnson & Johnson case triggered a wave of product safety reviews, leading to safer consumer products. In conclusion, consumer protection is a multifaceted shield, guarding against adulteration, poor quality, and deception. It's about holding companies accountable for their actions, ensuring transparency, and empowering consumers to make informed choices. Remember, as a consumer, you have rights, but with rights come responsibilities. It's your responsibility to stay informed, to question, and to demand transparency. After all, knowledge is power, and in the world of consumerism, it's your greatest weapon against unfair trade practices. This was a glimpse into the world of consumer protection, a world where fairness, transparency, and accountability are the guiding principles. And remember, it's not just about buying and selling, it's about trust, integrity, and the promise of quality. So, the next time you go shopping, remember to look beyond the shiny labels and polished counters. Your shopping cart is not just filled with products, but with the trust you place in the brands. Make sure it's well-deserved.
Ever wondered why consumer protection is so vital? It seems like a straightforward concept, but let's delve deeper to understand its true importance. In many parts of the world, a large number of consumers are not aware of their rights and the reliefs available to them. This lack of knowledge leads to their exploitation. Imagine being charged an exorbitant price for a product or service, or worse, being sold a defective product. This is where consumer protection steps in, acting as a shield against such malpractices. Take the case of a family in India who bought a refrigerator. Upon delivery, they found it to be defective. The retailer refused to replace it, leaving the family with a costly, non-functional appliance. This is a classic example of consumer exploitation resulting from a lack of consumer protection. In many countries, like India, consumers are still unorganized, and the absence of robust consumer organizations leaves them vulnerable. They are exploited on a large scale through various unfair trade practices. Consumer protection is a necessity to prevent such exploitation. From a business perspective, consumer protection is equally important. It's in the long-term interest of a business to keep its customers satisfied. Global competition can be won only by satisfying customers. Happy customers lead to repeat sales and help in increasing the customer base of the business. Moreover, it's the moral duty of any business to take care of consumer interests and avoid any form of exploitation. Businesses use society's resources, making it their responsibility to operate in the interest of society. Consider the case of a well-known mobile phone brand that was found guilty of slowing down older models of their phones. This deceitful practice led to a major backlash and a significant drop in their market reputation. The government intervened, and the company had to pay heavy fines. This instance underscores the importance of consumer protection from a business standpoint. To recap, consumer protection is vital for both consumers and businesses. For consumers, it acts as a safeguard against exploitation, ensuring they get value for their money. For businesses, consumer protection helps build trust and loyalty, fostering long-term customer relationships. Moreover, it's a business's moral duty and social responsibility to avoid consumer exploitation. Government intervention in cases of unfair trade practices not only taints the business's reputation, but also results in financial losses. Therefore, awareness and enforcement of consumer protection is a necessity for a fair and functioning marketplace. It ensures a win-win situation for both consumers and businesses, fostering a healthy economy. That's the power and importance of consumer protection.
Have you ever pondered over the question of who stands guard over your rights as a consumer? How do you protect yourself in the vast, complex marketplace of today's world? It's a question that deserves our attention and was the central theme of a recent workshop organized by Grahak Shakti, a renowned non-governmental organization dedicated to consumer rights and protection. In this workshop, a pivotal issue that surfaced was the exploitation of consumers. This exploitation takes numerous forms: defective and unsafe products, adulteration, black marketing, and hoarding, to name a few. It's a grim reality that consumers often find themselves at the receiving end of these unscrupulous practices, suffering in silence, their voices drowned in the cacophony of market dynamics. Yet, as discussed at the workshop, it's not just the exploiters who are to blame. In many instances, consumers themselves bear a part of the responsibility. They remain passive, failing to raise a collective voice against the exploitation they face. It's this silence that often emboldens the perpetrators, allowing them to continue their malpractices unchecked. The chairperson of Grahak Shakti brought an interesting perspective to the table. He emphasized that consumer protection isn't just the responsibility of consumers or regulatory bodies. It's equally the duty of businesses to safeguard the interests of their stakeholders. After all, businesses thrive by selling goods and services to consumers. Ignoring the interests of these consumers, who are also stakeholders, is not just unethical but also bad for business in the long run. In essence, the Grahak Shakti workshop underscored 3 key points about consumer protection. First, consumer exploitation takes many forms, and it's a pervasive issue. Second, consumers need to break their silence and raise a collective voice against exploitation. And third, businesses have a critical role to play in consumer protection. They need to recognize and respect their consumers as stakeholders whose interests must be catered to. This conversation around consumer protection is not just relevant but also urgent. It's a call to action for consumers to be vigilant and proactive, for businesses to be ethical and consumer-centric, and for society at large to foster a marketplace where fairness and transparency are not just ideals but the norm.
Consumer protection is crucial for our safety and well-being. Defective products can harm us, but regulations help reduce risks. Economic exploitation like black marketing hurts our wallets. Consumer protection fights for fair pricing and competition. We need collective action to address exploitation. Let's empower ourselves and hold businesses accountable. Together, we can make a difference. Stay informed, stay protected.
Who is a consumer under the Consumer Protection Act 2019? This question might seem straightforward, but the answer is not as simple as you might think. The Act has a specific definition of a consumer, which we'll explore in this video. A consumer, according to the Consumer Protection Act, is any person who purchases any goods or services. This could be offline or online, and it's not just limited to the person who made the purchase. If you're using a product or benefiting from a service that someone else bought, you're also considered a consumer, as long as the buyer approves of your use. However, there are exceptions to this rule. If you're buying goods for resale or for any commercial purpose, you're not regarded as a consumer under this act. The same goes for services. If you're availing a service for a commercial purpose, you're not covered under the consumer definition in the act. Let's delve into the second part of the definition. It states that any person who hires or avails a service for a consideration is also a consumer. This includes any beneficiary of such service other than the person who hires or avails of the services for consideration paid in part or in full. But again, the same exception applies here. If the service is availed for any commercial purpose, the person is not considered a consumer. In summary, a consumer under the Consumer Protection Act 2019 is anyone who buys goods or services, either offline or online, for personal use. This includes users of these goods or beneficiaries of these services with approval from the buyer. However, anyone obtaining goods or services for resale or commercial purposes is exempt from this definition. Also, anyone who hires or avails a service for a consideration, including any beneficiary of such service, is a consumer. But if the service is availed for any commercial purpose, then the person is not considered a consumer. Understanding this definition is crucial as it determines who can seek protection under the Consumer Protection Act 2019. So whether you're a buyer, a user, or a beneficiary, knowing your rights is the first step to protecting them.
So, Prucker bought an ISI mark electric iron from Barrett Electricals, but it turned out to be faulty. The seller promised a replacement, but the manufacturer refused. Now, can Barrett Electricals file a complaint in the consumer court? Absolutely. According to the Consumer Protection Act, 2019, Barrett Electricals can seek justice as a consumer. A consumer is anyone who buys goods or services for personal use, including Prucker in this case. Remember, consumer rights matter.
Did you know that Barrett Electricals can file a complaint in the consumer court on behalf of Prucker? Here's why. Firstly, there's the concept of privity of contract, establishing a legal relationship between them. Secondly, as the seller, Barrett Electricals is responsible for the quality of the products they sell. And thirdly, the Consumer Protection Act 2019 allows for consumer rights protection. So Barrett Electricals can seek redressal for Prucker's defective electric iron. It's all about consumer empowerment and seeking justice. Knowledge is power, folks.
Ever pondered what rights you have as a consumer? Ever purchased a product or service that didn't quite live up to your expectations? Or perhaps found yourself in a situation where you felt misled or ill-informed about a product or service you bought? Today, we're delving into the rights of a consumer under the Consumer Protection Act of 2019. First and foremost, every consumer has the right to safety. This means you are entitled to be protected against products and services which could be hazardous to your health or life. For example, it's always advisable to use electronic devices that are marked with the ISI symbol, ensuring they meet certain safety standards. Secondly, you have the right to be informed. This means you're entitled to complete information about the product before making a purchase. This could include the manufacturing date, price, quantity, and expiry date. It's your right to have all these details at your fingertips before you decide to part with your hard-earned money. Then comes the right to choose. As a consumer, you have the freedom to choose any product from an array of available options. Your decision-making process should not be influenced or manipulated by any external factors. Fourth, we have the right to be heard. If you're dissatisfied with a product or service, you have the right to file a complaint and have your grievances addressed. The use of grievance cells is a great way to ensure your voice is heard. Fifthly, there's the right to seek redress. If a product or service falls short of your expectations or is deemed dangerous, you have the right to seek relief. This could be in the form of a replacement, removal of the defect, or compensation for any loss. The government has set up various redressal forums at the national and state level to aid in this process. Lastly, there's the right to consumer education. You have the right to acquire knowledge and to be well informed throughout your life. The government of India has even included consumer education in the school curriculum and is making use of media to make consumers aware of their rights. So there you have it, a comprehensive look at the rights of a consumer under the Consumer Protection Act of 2019. Remember, as a consumer, you have the right to safety, the right to be informed, the right to choose, the right to be heard, the right to seek redress, and the right to consumer education. Always keep these rights in mind and make sure to exercise them whenever necessary. Because an aware consumer is an empowered consumer. Stay savvy, stay informed.
So, my friend Ann always wonders why I go to that specific shop far from my place instead of the big brand ones nearby. Well, let me tell you, I'm exercising my right as a consumer that I can't do in those big shops. It's my right to choose, compare, and get the best value for my money. That shop offers me a variety of brands and products, plus the salesperson gives great presentations. So, why settle for less when I can have the best? It's all about knowing your rights as a consumer, folks.
Choosing where to shop isn't just about convenience, it's about empowerment. By exercising my right to choose, I support businesses that align with my values and preferences. Even if it means going the extra mile, the personalized service, product variety, and engaging sales presentations make it worth it. This right not only benefits me, but also promotes healthy competition, ensuring I get access to quality products and services that truly cater to my needs. It's all about making informed decisions that reflect who I am and what I stand for.
Ever pondered what rights you have as a consumer? Ever purchased a product or service that didn't quite live up to your expectations? Or perhaps found yourself in a situation where you felt misled or ill-informed about a product or service you bought? Today, we're delving into the rights of a consumer under the Consumer Protection Act of 2019. First and foremost, every consumer has the right to safety. This means you are entitled to be protected against products and services which could be hazardous to your health or life. For example, it's always advisable to use electronic devices that are marked with the ISI symbol, ensuring they meet certain safety standards. Secondly, you have the right to be informed. This means you're entitled to complete information about the product before making a purchase. This could include the manufacturing date, price, quantity, and expiry date. It's your right to have all these details at your fingertips before you decide to part with your hard-earned money. Then comes the right to choose. As a consumer, you have the freedom to choose any product from an array of available options. Your decision-making process should not be influenced or manipulated by any external factors. Fourth, we have the right to be heard. If you're dissatisfied with a product or service, you have the right to file a complaint and have your grievances addressed. The use of grievance cells is a great way to ensure your voice is heard. Fifthly, there's the right to seek redress. If a product or service falls short of your expectations or is deemed dangerous, you have the right to seek relief. This could be in the form of a replacement, removal of the defect, or compensation for any loss. The government has set up various redressal forums at the national and state level to aid in this process. Lastly, there's the right to consumer education. You have the right to acquire knowledge and to be well informed throughout your life. The government of India has even included consumer education in the school curriculum and is making use of media to make consumers aware of their rights. So there you have it, a comprehensive look at the rights of a consumer under the Consumer Protection Act of 2019. Remember, as a consumer, you have the right to safety, the right to be informed, the right to choose, the right to be heard, the right to seek redress, and the right to consumer education. Always keep these rights in mind and make sure to exercise them whenever necessary. Because an aware consumer is an empowered consumer. Stay savvy, stay informed.
Hey guys, so I had this problem walking on the road. Got myself some high heels, big mistake. Turns out there are medically recommended shoes for this issue. Didn't know that. But this company selling them is on point, holding workshops to spread awareness. Avesh here, lesson learned. Always do your research before buying shoes. Stay informed, folks. Ever wondered why choosing the right shoes is crucial for your health? Well, let me tell you a story about Avesh. He didn't do his homework on medically recommended shoes, and guess what? He ended up worsening his walking problem. But hey, there's hope. Thanks to companies like the one selling those shoes, we now have access to workshops that provide us with the right info to make informed decisions. So next time you're shoe shopping, remember, knowledge is key. Stay informed, stay healthy.
Ever puzzled over who can raise a flag under the Consumer Protection Act 2019? It's a question that often stirs up a whirlwind of confusion. But worry not. We're here to set the record straight. This act is designed to address consumer grievances, and it opens the door for a range of people and entities to file a complaint. So who exactly can step forward? Well, the list is quite comprehensive. First off, any consumer can file a complaint. It's an individual right that empowers each consumer to stand up against faulty goods or deficient services. Next up, there's strength in numbers. Registered consumer associations also have the power to file a complaint. This means that groups formed to safeguard consumer rights can take action against unjust practices. But it doesn't stop there. The central or state government is also on the list. They have the authority to file a complaint, acting as guardians of public interest. In addition, when multiple consumers share the same interest, one or more consumers can file a complaint on their behalf. This allows collective action against any wrongdoing. Finally, if a consumer is no longer with us, their legal heir or representative can step in to file a complaint. This ensures that justice can still be sought even posthumously. Now, let's shift gears and ask, against whom can a complaint be filed? Well, the Consumer Protection Act 2019 is a wide net that catches all types of undertakings. Whether it's a massive corporation or a small local business, a private entity or a public one, a manufacturer or a trader, a wholesaler or a retailer, all are under its purview. If you've bought defective goods from a seller, manufacturer or dealer, you can file a complaint. Here, defect refers to any fault, imperfection, or shortcoming in the quality, quantity, or purity of goods. Similarly, if you're at the receiving end of deficient services, the provider is liable for a complaint. Deficiency here means any imperfection, shortcoming, or inadequacy in the quality, nature, and manner of performance of services. To sum it all up, the Consumer Protection Act 2019 empowers a wide array of individuals and entities to file complaints. This includes any consumer, registered consumer associations, the central or state government, multiple consumers with a shared interest, and the legal heir or representative of a deceased consumer. On the flip side, any entity involved in the supply of goods or provision of services can face a complaint if they fall short in delivering quality goods or services. So, remember, as a consumer, you're not alone. The Consumer Protection Act 2019 is there to ensure that your rights are protected and justice is served.
Consumer protection isn't just a concept, it's a fundamental right. And the backbone that upholds this right is the legal redressal machinery. Under the Consumer Protection Act 2019, this machinery is a multi-tiered, robust system designed to address and resolve consumer disputes efficiently and effectively. In the heart of this system, we find the District Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission, or DCDRC. This body, composed of a president and 2 other members, one of whom is a woman, has jurisdiction over consumer disputes involving claims up to 1 crore. They possess the authority to adjudicate disputes, direct compensation, and enforce their own orders. A step above the DCDRC is the State Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission, or SCDRC. The SCDRC hears appeals against the orders of the DCDRC and deals with consumer disputes involving claims exceeding 1 crore but not exceeding 10 crores. The SCDRC, like its district counterpart, has the power to adjudicate disputes, award compensation, and enforce its orders. At the peak of this structure stands the National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission, the NCDRC. As the apex consumer dispute redressal forum in India, The NCDRC hears appeals against the orders of the SCDRC and manages disputes involving claims exceeding 10 crores. This commission holds wide-ranging powers to adjudicate disputes, grant compensation, and issue orders for the enforcement of its decisions. The CPA 2019, however, recognizes that not all disputes need to be solved in court. As such, it provides for the establishment of mediation cells at the district, state, and national levels. This alternative dispute resolution mechanism appoints a neutral mediator who assists the parties in reaching a mutually acceptable settlement. In addition to these redressal forums, the CPA 2019 also establishes the Central Consumer Protection Authority, or CCPA. This regulatory body is tasked with promoting, protecting, and enforcing consumer rights. The CCPA holds the authority to investigate violations of consumer rights, issue directions to businesses, and impose penalties for non-compliance. The CPA 2019 also provides for the establishment of a consumer mediation cell. This cell promotes mediation as a means of resolving consumer disputes, aiming to achieve speedy and cost-effective resolution. The CPA 2019 also introduces several provisions aimed at strengthening the legal redressal mechanism. These include e-filing of complaints and documents, the use of video conferencing for hearings, fast-track disposal of consumer disputes, and enhanced compensation. These key provisions are designed to improve access to justice for consumers, making the process more efficient and effective. In conclusion, the legal redressal machinery under the CPA 2019 is a comprehensive system that aims to uphold and protect consumer rights. By providing multiple avenues for dispute resolution and enhancing the accessibility and effectiveness of the legal process, it serves as a robust safeguard for consumers across the country.
So my mom got me these gold earrings for my birthday, but turns out they were fake. Can you believe it? I checked the hallmark and it was all wrong. Filed a complaint, but the district forum rejected it. Not giving up though. I can totally appeal against their decision. Justice will prevail, right? Let's fight for what's right.
Did you know that I have the right to appeal against the district forum's decision on my complaint about the fraudulent sale of gold earrings? The Consumer Protection Act, 2019, empowers consumers like me to seek justice. I can escalate my case to the State Commission and even the National Commission if needed. This system ensures that I can fight for my rights and find a resolution. So, I'm not giving up until I get justice for that fraudulent transaction. Let's pursue this together.
Ever wondered what to do when a brand new smartphone starts malfunctioning just a few days after purchase? Or how about when a booked hotel room doesn't match the promised standards? It's a frustrating situation, isn't it? These are instances where consumer rights come into play. Imagine a world where consumers have no rights. A place where businesses can sell faulty products or provide substandard services without any repercussions. Thankfully, that's not the world we live in. In most countries, consumers are protected by law and have several remedies available to them. Firstly, consumers have the right to demand the removal of defects in goods or services. This means if that brand new smartphone is behaving erratically, the seller or manufacturer has an obligation to fix it. The second remedy is the replacement of the defective product with a new one, free from defects. So, if fixing that smartphone doesn't solve the problem, the consumer has the right to demand a brand new, defect-free phone. Thirdly, there is the option to get a refund of the price paid for the product or service. This is especially useful when neither fixing nor replacing the faulty product is feasible. But what if the faulty product or substandard service has caused some harm or injury? Well, consumers have the right to demand compensation for the loss or injury suffered due to the product or service. This compensation is meant to make up for any harm, physical or otherwise, that the consumer may have suffered. In some cases, there might also be the provision to demand extra compensation as a corrective measure for damage to the consumer due to the opposite party. This is usually in situations where the seller or service provider was aware of the defects and yet chose to disregard them. Consumers also have the power to put an end to unfair trade practices. They have the right to demand the discontinuation of such practices and ensure they are not repeated. Furthermore, the consumer has the right to demand the withdrawal of hazardous goods from sale. If a product is deemed dangerous, it should not be available for purchase. Lastly, consumers have the power to cease and desist from issuing any misleading advertisement. If the reality doesn't match what's advertised, consumers have the right to take action. To sum it up, consumers have a wide array of remedies available to them. These range from demanding defect removal, replacement of the product, refunds, compensation for loss or injury, extra compensation for damage due to negligence, discontinuation of unfair practices, withdrawal of hazardous goods, and action against misleading advertisements. Remember, consumer is king, and these remedies are the scepter, giving power to consumers to ensure they get their money's worth and are treated fairly in the marketplace. So the next time there's a faulty product or a substandard service, remember these remedies and exercise the rights. It's not just about getting value for money, but also about ensuring businesses maintain a high standard of product and service quality.
Have you ever wondered what rights you have as a consumer when shopping online or watching your favorite shopping channel? You might be surprised to learn that there are several key consumer rights that companies like Home Shop 18 actively promote and uphold. First and foremost, the right to information. Every product listed on Home Shop 18, from mobiles to beauty products, apparel, jewelry, home and kitchen appliances, and more, is accompanied by detailed information. This includes the product's features, pricing, and warranty details. Home Shop 18 believes in transparency and ensures that you receive all necessary information to make an informed purchase. The second right is the right to choose. Home Shop 18 offers a wide variety of goods under each of its over 15 categories. This extensive range allows you to select products that best meet your needs and preferences, ensuring you always have a choice, a crucial aspect of consumer rights. The third right is the right to safety. Home Shop 18 ensures all its products meet safety regulations and standards. It takes product safety seriously, ensuring that all items sold are safe for use, reducing the risk of harm to consumers. The fourth consumer right is the right to be heard. Home Shop 18 values your feedback and makes it easy for consumers to voice their concerns or complaints. They provide multiple channels for communication, including email and phone support, ensuring your voice is heard and your complaints are addressed. The fifth right is the right to redress. If a product you've purchased from Home Shop 18 doesn't meet your expectations, or there's an issue with the product, Home Shop 18 has a return and refund policy in place. They strive to ensure that any grievances are resolved in a fair and timely manner. Lastly, the right to consumer education. Home Shop 18 believes in empowering its consumers with knowledge about their rights and responsibilities. This is evident in their detailed terms and conditions and FAQ sections on their website, where they educate consumers about their policies and how to navigate the online shopping process. In conclusion, Home Shop 18 is a company that not only provides a wide variety of products to cater to your needs, but also upholds and promotes your rights as a consumer. They ensure you are informed, have a choice, are safe, can voice your concerns, have a path to redress, and are educated about your rights and responsibilities. Remember, as consumers, it's essential to be aware of our rights and choose companies that respect and uphold these rights. And it's clear that Home Shop 18 is one such company that values and respects your rights as a consumer.
Ever pondered the importance of consumer rights in the e-commerce landscape? In a world where online shopping is becoming the norm, understanding your rights as a consumer has never been more crucial. One company that stands at the forefront of promoting consumer rights is Home Shop 18. Here's a look at how they champion these rights. First and foremost, Home Shop 18 champions the right to safety. The company takes great pains to ensure that all their products, whether it's a tube of lipstick or a kitchen appliance, meet stringent safety standards. So when you shop at Home Shop 18, rest assured that every product is safe to use and poses no harm to your well-being. Next on their list is the right to information.
Home Shop 18 believes that an informed consumer is a smart consumer. That's why they provide comprehensive product descriptions, detailed specifications, and honest user reviews. This enables you to know exactly what you're buying and what to expect from it. Thirdly, Home Shop 18 promotes the right to choose. With a catalog that spans over 15 categories, from mobiles to jewelry to home and kitchen items, you are spoiled for choice. This wide variety ensures that you can select products that perfectly match your preferences, needs, and budget. Lastly, but certainly not least, Home Shop 18 upholds the right to redressal. If you ever encounter any issues with their products or services, Home Shop 18's dedicated customer support and hassle-free return or exchange policy are there to help you resolve your complaints and seek the redressal you deserve. In conclusion, Home Shop 18 is a beacon of commitment to consumer rights, championing safety, information, choice, and redressal for all its customers. It's a testament to their dedication to ensuring a secure, informed, and satisfying shopping experience for everyone.
Ever wondered about the forces that stand guard over your rights as a consumer? Those unsung heroes who tirelessly work to ensure that your rights aren't trampled upon? Today, we dive into the fascinating world of consumer organizations and NGOs, entities that are often overlooked yet play a significant role in our daily lives. Imagine a scenario where you've bought a shiny new gadget only to realize it's not working as advertised. Disappointed, you try to return it, but the company refuses to refund or replace it. Now, you're left with a costly, faulty product. What do? This is where consumer organizations and NGOs come into play. Consider the case of Jane. Jane, just like any other consumer, bought a refrigerator from a reputed brand. However, the refrigerator broke down within a few months. Despite her best efforts, the company refused to address her grievances. Feeling hopeless and cheated, Jane approached a local consumer organization. This organization, armed with legal knowledge and a dedicated team, took up Jane's case. They educated her about her rights as a consumer and the legal remedies available to her. They then published her story in their periodical, bringing it to the attention of other consumers who might be facing similar issues. But they didn't stop there. The organization provided Jane with legal assistance, guiding her through the complex process of filing a complaint in the consumer court. They also produced a video on the incident, highlighting the misuse of power by the company, effectively spreading awareness about such unfair trade practices. This is not a one-off case. Every day, consumer organizations and NGOs take initiatives to file cases in consumer courts on behalf of consumers. They work relentlessly, educating the public about their rights, organizing training programs, seminars, and workshops, and publishing informative content to educate consumers. These organizations also take a stand against food adulteration, misuse of drugs, and other unfair trade practices. They are the watchdogs of the consumer world, always ready to bark at the slightest hint of injustice. Supporting these organizations is not just about donating money. It's about standing up for your rights and the rights of others. It's about saying no to unfair trade practices and yes to justice. It's about ensuring that everyone gets a fair deal. So the next time you come across a consumer organization or an NGO, remember the work they do. Remember the battles they fight to ensure your rights are protected. Remember Jane and countless others like them who found justice thanks to these organizations. Stand up for your rights, support consumer organizations and NGOs. Because when you do, you're not just helping them, you're helping yourself and millions of other consumers worldwide. And that, in the grand scheme of things, is a victory for all.
Ever wondered what happens when a product you've purchased doesn't live up to its promises? Take a journey with me as I recount the curious case of an entire colony, a mosquito-killing racket, and a friend who wouldn't back down. In a close-knit society, a novel solution to a pesky problem was introduced. Mosquito-killing rackets, a beacon of hope against the buzzing invaders. Purchased en masse, these rackets promised an end to the mosquito menace. However, the promise was short-lived. Within 2 months, the majority of these rackets turned useless. Among the disappointed residents was Rishank, a man of action who decided to take the matter to the consumer court. But unity was lacking. The residents, perhaps disillusioned or just indifferent, did not rally behind him. Adding to the complexity, The rackets were priced at a modest 450 rupees, not a small sum for many. Enter the journalist, a friend of Rishank, who decided to shine a light on this issue. A story was penned and published in a daily newspaper, not just to inform, but to instigate action. And indeed, it did. The company, once indifferent, was now on its toes. In a surprising turn of events, they decided to take a stand. A resolution was offered to take back or repair all the faulty rackets. A victory, it seemed, was on the horizon. But stories, like life, are never that simple. The plot thickened when a company technician made a startling revelation. The instruction book provided with each racket had an essential directive: clean the racket with special care every month. A directive overlooked by the residents, including Rishank himself. This revelation was an eye-opener for the company, for Rishank, and for every resident of the colony. It's a reminder, a lesson learned the hard way, that responsibility is a two-way street. It's not just about holding companies accountable, but also about following guidelines set for us. So the next time you're quick to point a finger, remember the tale of the mosquito-killing racket. Remember that every story has two sides, and most importantly, remember to read the instruction manual.
Ever wondered why that brand new appliance stopped working so soon, or why your latest gadget isn't performing as expected? It might have more to do with us than we'd like to admit. Yes, the importance of adhering to product maintenance and manufacturer instructions can't be overstressed. Take the case of Rishank, for instance. Rishank bought several mosquito-killing rackets for his colony's residents. However, soon enough they began to malfunction. Rishank decided to seek redressal for his loss at the District Consumer Disputes Redressal Forum, as the value of the faulty rackets fell within its jurisdiction. From a business perspective, the company that produced these rackets realized the importance of customer satisfaction and loyalty. They understood that taking back or repairing faulty products is not just about addressing an individual's grievance, but it is also about preserving the company's reputation. However, it was later discovered that the residents of Rishank's colony had not been following the proper product maintenance. The mosquito-killing rackets were not cleaned as per the instructions in the manual. This neglect could have been a significant contributor to the malfunctioning of the products. In the end, despite the residents' failure to follow the maintenance instructions, the company decided to uphold the consumer's right to redressal. They offered to either take back or repair all the faulty rackets. This action by the company ensured that consumers are provided with remedies for defective products, thus safeguarding their rights to quality and satisfaction. So, what can we glean from Rishank's case? Firstly, it's crucial to follow manufacturer instructions and maintain products properly. This not only ensures the longevity and effectiveness of the products, but also keeps us from unnecessary trouble. Secondly, businesses must realize the significance of maintaining customer satisfaction and loyalty. Taking responsibility for faulty products and offering remedies can go a long way in preserving the company's reputation. Lastly, even when consumers fail in their duties, companies have a responsibility to uphold their rights. Offering redressal for faulty products is part of ensuring consumer rights to quality and satisfaction. Remember, a little care goes a long way, whether it's about maintaining a product or maintaining a relationship, be it with customers or with businesses. The key is to understand and respect each other's roles and responsibilities. It's a two-way street, after all.